Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another session of podcast. I wish and I'm sure you will enjoy listening to the broadcast.
What really is a diet? How does a diet work on us? Okay, what we consider as a diet, without naming names, but there are so many fairly published and popular diets, that promise to give you a certain result after a certain time. Does all this work? Does it really? Is our body really looking for that kind of a diet, or we are trying to stuff ourselves with something, assuming that we're going to get some certain results? So, okay, without making it too complicated, I'll go over to Sir. So what is a diet? Is it the sum total of all the intake as we take as food? Can we call that as a diet? What really would you define as a diet for a human being?
The greatest Tamil science program started with the first video of Art of Cooking.
Art of Cooking, yes.
So there are many things were mentioned in that program. So now we come to the word diet.
Right.
What do you mean by diet? The word diet, the food intake. So if you go to psychology, they would have explained the primary needs and the secondary needs. Right. So in the primary needs, they are physiological needs. First thing starts with hunger, thirst, sex, maintenance of body temperature, feeling of safety and security, and maternal. This is
final is?
Maternal.
Okay, maternal.
Maternal is only applicable for the women folk.
Right.
You bear a child for 9 months, and when you give delivery to a child, you have that motherly, that instinct.
Feel and instinct, yeah.
Yeah. These are all instinctive in nature. Hunger, thirst, sex, feeling of safety and security, maintenance of body temperature, and maternal. The word instinct will be explained as an innate biological force which predisposes the organism to do certain act. Okay. It's not under your control.
Not under your control.
No. Now, the first thing is hunger, physiological need. When the hunger comes, you have no choice other than to satisfy it.
True.
Whether you're a beggar or a millionaire or a billionaire or a person with all kinds of divine quality you may claim. You have to eat.
You have to eat. Yeah.
No choice. So what do we eat? What do we eat is food. The food is given to us by nature.
Yeah.
Right? So the body by itself, the human body by itself, it's made out of atoms. Finally, 92% of your body is made out of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms. So that's a carbohydrate is nothing other than carbon, hydrogen and oxygen with a 1:1 ratio.
True.
We have given a program on that. So this carbohydrate wants that carbohydrate because carbohydrate are the energy source. So now here, the diet what we talk about in general is food that we need to satisfy our hunger. We stop here.
True.
What food? What your parents have given you. Over. There is no more complication in this.
Yeah.
From the day you're born till the age of 15, 16, that is what your food is made at home by your parents.
Right.
And that food is taught by their parents. That's how we eat and come. That's what is diet. There is nothing big about it. You can ask your next question, whatever you want.
So, actually, my next question is sort of answered, but I will still ask. What is the best diet for a person?
No, if you see a person who's having, say you take the population lives in Siberia, lives in remote areas of Siberia. They are not in mainstream with the urbanization and all that stuff. And the diet what they eat, if you give it to people in Chennai, it's toxic for us.
Toxic for us, true. Heavy fat.
And what food that we eat in South India, if you give it to a Norwegian, I don't think so he can digest. So what people eat in Japan has to be given to the Argentinians, it may not suit them.
It might not suit them.
So, according to the geographical location, according to your, the tradition in which you come, and your parental molding, the food is designed to that territory by those people, which has been followed over thousands of years. So, that is what is diet, that is what is food. You stick to that. Because a microbial load of a fruit called kiwi in New Zealand may not suit an African.
True.
Yeah.
So can we define diet as the traditional food intake that one is used to based on their geographic
No,
environment?
no. Scientifically, if you see, we need carbohydrates, we need protein, we need fat, we need other vital minerals, which you may call it as vitamins, and maybe trace minerals. These should be our food, right?
Yeah, right.
Because you need glucose for every cell, energy source to drive the cells and function the cell. You need protein, you need fat. You have 9 number of different types of diet. If you go to the net and see what the people over a span of time designed. But how best that it will suit a person is a big question mark. Now, for example, I can tell you, paleo diet. What is paleo diet? Paleotic diet is, it's been, if you go and read that, what humanity has eaten 10,000 years ago. So they were eating mutton, birds, poultry.
Certain grains.
No grains there.
No grains?
No grains there. No grain food comes into that. Eggs, nuts,
protein.
seeds, something like that. So, because you assume that 10,000 years ago, the people were not used to agriculture, so they were eating what is available. How do you
hunting.
know? What evidence you have that they were not doing agriculture? And what evidence you have, this is what they would have eaten? You assume.
Right.
So that paleo diet, now 10,000 years, we have crossed close to 400 generations. There is a huge amount of transformation has happened.
True.
And you want to, since we have eaten that kind of a food, assuming we would have eaten that kind of food 10,000 years ago, how can you eat it now?
Even today, your environment has changed completely.
Then the side effect of this paleo diet, you know what? Diarrhea, nausea, functional disorders of intestines,
Because of
load onto the kidney,
because of the microbial load?
because of high protein,
High protein.
high fat. Then, it may result in high risk factor for cardio, high risk factor for cancer, depression, drowsiness, dullness, laziness, because carb is not there. So how can you eat that diet? You were born in a Maharashtrian family in Pune.
Right.
You are used to some set of food till the age of 10, 12. Whatever cooked at home is eaten.
Right.
Maybe once in a month or twice in a month you may go to a restaurant. But you have not gone to a Mexican restaurant and eaten
never.
Mexican food.
Never.
Right? Or a Greek restaurant to eat a Greek food.
Absolutely.
There was no such restaurants were there when we were small.
Yeah.
So we go to a restaurant where we get the same food what we make at home.
Yeah.
Our rotis and chapatis and puris and sabjis and whatnot. But the point here is, suddenly why do you want to go to assuming that 10,000 years ago some people would have eaten only this, so let us eat this. Then you have high protein diet. What is high protein diet? I don't understand at all. Again, meat, salmon, fish, tuna, poultry, eggs, nuts,
Avocados.
seeds, no carbohydrates, little bit of veggies, little bit of fruits. Arey, what is this? Okay, I'm asking you a simple question, You go for a wedding a person who's a rich person who's getting his daughter married and she's your friend and you go for a wedding. In the wedding, it's so beautifully done, elaborately done, and the food is also elaborate. They put you a big plantain leaf. They give you 50 items there. Have you ever eaten like this in your house?
Never.
Have we ever cooked 52 items at the same time and placed it on top of a plate or a leaf and eaten?
No.
So we don't have the appetite for it.
Right.
He wants to, give you a very beautiful lunch or a dinner where he keeps 50, 60 items. We can't eat. How much you will eat? We don't have the appetite for all those things. We have never had such food.
True.
So, what do I call that diet as? Rich diet, elaborate diet, decorative diet? You can bring in lot of language here. But what we need is, when you first reduce yourself from carbohydrate by going into a protein-rich diet. You have fat-rich diet. What they are saying is, give the body huge amount
Ample
of fat, which can be converted into carbs or glucose or whatever, and then reduce the carbohydrate to keep the blood glucose under control.
So the body burns the glucose existing within the body. That is the logic. At least.
Then what happens? What about your system, your liver, your stomach, your pancreas, which has to assist the digestion? What about the intestines? Okay, we'll come to this side. I want you to more understand. If you are talking about low-fat diet, then again we have a problem. What problem? We need vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K. Now, B series and C, vitamin C, are water soluble. Your blood plasma is water based. So they very easily get water soluble inside the body and gets absorbed by the plasma, which is water based, and then it can be transported to all parts of the body.
B and C.
Good. Now, A, D, E, and K are fat soluble.
Fat soluble.
It is not water soluble. And lipids can, your protein diet, what protein comes to lipid, and lipid can transport it to the rest of the body. If you are going to have low fat diet or zero fat diet, what about your A, D, E, and K? You're gone there. So what happened in 1980s, early 80s, even though they knew this fact, they thought they will go in for a low fat diet to control the cholesterol. That whatever they call it as high density lipoprotein and low density lipoprotein, this should be of this number, this should be of less than this number, and all that kind of thing. 25 years they practiced low fat diet. They found that is because if you give low fat diet and the cholesterol is under these numbers or whatever, and then you reduce the rate of heart attacks in the people, the fatal and all that stuff, what happened in the end, the low fat diet practices of the huge population, the rate of heart attack and cardiovascular problems were more than what it was before. Knowing the fact that we need a good amount of fat. Now, you work a methodology and you say 0.4 grams per pound of your body weight should be your protein intake per day. Again, they come into numbers. That means you need a minimum of 56 grams of protein per day in your food. How can you work on those numbers here? I told you, the population who lives in Alaska may need more protein.
Will need more protein.
Because they were used to more protein, maybe 200 grams of protein every day they must be eating, because the guys who eat in Siberia a lot of fish as their main course, they eat a lot of protein.
Right.
Their body is used to it. How can you bring it under a number and say this is going to be the international standard or a global standard or an universal standard? All kinds of language we have now. Global, worldwide, international, universal. I don't know. I don't understand that at all. And they say 0.8 grams of fat per kg of your body or per pound of your body, some numbers they would have given. Again, they'll calculate it, this many number of grams fat should be there in your. We may, I live in a remote village as a tribal in a Western Ghats. I'm not used to much of grain food. I eat jackfruits, I drink goat milk, I eat deer meat, I eat plantain. Hardly once or twice a week I cook something and eat. So how can you bring me and I'm living a healthy life?
Right.
Because I move around 30-40 kilometers a day. That's a huge exercise for me.
It's a huge exercise, yeah.
And I'm not walking in the flat terrain. I'm in a hilly area. I climb up, I go to the valleys, I climb down. By the time I go for 2 chakkar in the morning and evening, I'll be climbing down and climbing up nearly about, I'll be covering something like 30-40 kilometers or 50-60 kilometers in a day. Collection of many things. I go hunt, I go search of honey, I climb trees. I am tirelessly moving all the time in the world between the sunrise to the sunset. Which people in the normal terrain, we guys live in the urban area, we don't do that.
We don't do that. Yeah.
So how can you calculate these numbers to that man? Who has given him that diet? Because he was living there generations after generations after generation. So he is accessible to certain foods which is identified by his ancestors, his parents, his grandparents, whatever. And he is being used to that kind of food from the day he was born. And he is continuing that and going. And if you are going to give him a burger and pizza, he is going to definitely go into a loose motion. His stomach is not going to agree to that cheese.
Will not expect it, yeah.
Then processed food industry. That's another big headache for us. You are not supposed, according to the modern science, food and nutrition dietary division, you are not supposed to take frozen meat on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You can, they have given this. Leads to a lot of problems.
Even if it's in a cold storage and kept at minus.
Cold storage is what is frozen. What is refrigerator? Refrigerator, the concept came in 1750. Some kind of a refrigerator, compressor-based refrigerator came in 1834. In 1854, industrialized refrigerations came. In 1913, 1913, residential model of refrigeration compressor-based had come. From there onwards, we deteriorated with that word called diet. Anything stored in the fridge, you can go. You can read that in the net.
Right.
Anything stored in your refrigeration, they say more than 3 to 4 days. It's lesser than that. Because when you take a tomato, a plant is grown, the flower has come, and the small bit of a tomato has come and it's grown big and ripened into red color. What temperature it has seen from the day it was born to the ripen of tomato?
Normal environmental temperature.
And you're keeping it in the fridge to hold it for a number of days. It loses its nutrients.
Okay.
That's measured by the modern science. Anything that we store in the fridge will start losing its nutrient as the time goes. So there we are getting stuck. We are getting a lot of our processed food or cold storage food.
Right.
If you go to Dubai, Saudi Arabia and all these West Asian countries, where your temperature between June to September will be very high.
Very high.
45 to 55
45,
degrees.
50 degrees, yeah.
So all your vegetables which comes from other parts of the world, fruits, are in cold storage.
Right.
Otherwise it can't stand the heat.
It can't stand the heat, yeah.
So your nutrient of that vegetable is gone. That is what you are eating.
True.
So we can't do anything about it. And today what has happened because of our modern science transportation system of air cargo and other things, every food grown everywhere is available everywhere.
Everywhere.
You have the Tasmanian apple in all parts of the world. You have the Washington apple in all parts of the world. Okay? You have the cherries from Phillip Island in all parts of the world. You have the yellow plums from Europe in all parts of the world. Likewise, every food commodity grown everywhere in the world is within 24 hours in every part of the world. Probably if we start using this another 10 generations of eating all kinds of food from all parts of the world, we will become familiar to all those kinds of food.
Yeah.
It may take time.
It will take time.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, at least.
At the moment, I don't know what is exactly happening because once there's a problem of disease sets in, which we are not able to identify why this is coming. So we don't know. And diet is something which should be a normal diet balanced with carbohydrate, protein and fat. And other trace minerals and vitamins, which if you take to my observation, to my understanding, I was brought up in Chennai in Tamil Nadu, and we are used to our set of traditional food, what we eat. We are all rice-based eaters. We are not roti-based eaters, like wheat-based. So what we eat is some kind of a idli or a dosa or pongal, upma, something like that in the morning. We'll have one rice, one gravy, one rasam. Rasam is a must here, which helps your digestion. One or two vegetables, sometimes meat, little bit, whatever. Sometimes seafoods. That's what our lunch. Not all the days we eat non-veg. Twice a week or something. Night we'll have again rice or whatever, or tiffin item something. This is what we eat 3 meals a day. And this is what is the best food for me. Suddenly if you're going to push me into eating only meat, that's not going to suit you.
Right.
No. No way.
So there's one important question. When diets are mostly associated with weight loss, and a lot of people follow a certain diet, prescribed diets for reducing weight, they probably see results in that as well. But what are the downsides of these diets, especially done for maybe maximum a few months or a year to lose a certain amount of weight? So I think if you could just elaborate on the downsides of this, because this is most popular and
now, if
it's a multi-million-dollar industry.
Yeah, in my experience, whatever little that I have seen, 50 years ago, when you go to schools, when we were in schools, maybe around 1,500 children were studying in my school. Hardly 10 of them were on the higher side in size. You are talking about weight now.
Yeah.
Today, if 1,500 students are studying,
probably
1,000 students are studying, 200 students are stout and big.
Yeah, true.
Okay? So, now what I am asking is, what is this weight all about? What is this weight loss all about? We have a point here. What is the point here is that we don't have any physical exertion whatsoever. We sit and eat all the time in the world. And we are in screens, we are in social media, we are in mobile, we are in iPad, we are in video game, we are in laptop or whatever. We are in television. You have 300 channels in a television. So we keep talking because you sit in your bathroom on your commode and you can speak to somebody in America who is driving. It was not there those days. So you are put on weight. What do you mean by weight loss? So what do? Suddenly somebody comes with a brilliant idea. Eat only tomatoes for 3 days. Then you eat only plantain for 4 days. Then drink only milk for 2 days. Then you eat only sprouts for 4 days. What is all this? Your gallbladder regulation is going to go. And you're going to land up with headache.
There's excess bile also released. Right?
Yeah. You're finished. You only eat tomato. What is it? You have never eaten like that in your lifetime.
Sure.
And they say that if you follow this diet pattern, they'll give you a chart. Some crazy stuff. They ask you to follow that. They'll say every week you reduce 3 to 4 kilos.
You do reduce, but I'm sure, as you're saying, there are so many side effects of this. You're depriving of your body of what is
Forget the
necessary.
side effects. When you deprive the body, when you finish this 45 days exercise or 3 months exercise or 2 months exercise, when you come back to your regular food, in this exercise of number of weeks, you may have reduced around 12 kilos. When you come back to normal food, Within a month's time, say you have taken 8 weeks to reduce 12 kilos, for example. When you come back to your original normal dietary stuff, within 4 weeks you go to 15 kilos more. Body will behave so violent.
It's going to crave for what it's
in
been
our
deprived.
salt program, I have said, no?
Right.
If you go to zero salt diet, absolutely zero salt diet, in 3 months you will minimum lose 20 kilos.
Okay.
When you come back to salt after 3 months, after 48 days, say suppose somebody is 52 years and he goes for a zero salt diet, after crossing 45 days, 48 days or 50 days, what will happen? He will feel that he was walking when he was in 18 years old. How effortlessly he was walking. People will not be able to come with you. People will say, go slow, go slow. You will be walking, I will be running with you. In such speed you move. After 90 days when you come back to salt, within a month's time you put 25 kilos. I have experienced all this and I am telling, I have practiced, I have experienced, I am telling you this. So this weight loss category is one thing. First of all, make sure you don't put on weight.
Exactly.
And then, you don't work hard to, reduce the weight.
Reduce the weight, yeah.
Reduce the weight, there is only one thing is, first of all, the problem in the present world in the last 25 years, all of us around the world are doing excessive eating.
Of the wrong things.
Excessive eating because you're all the time stuck at home. You keep on want to entertain your tongue.
Yeah.
The best way to kill your time is to eat. Yeah.
Okay.
You keep drinking juice, you keep drinking snacks, eating snacks, it keeps going. So you put on weight. So if you're going to carry various other, brought in adopt ideas and then start following this dietary pattern, that dietary pattern, that fellow's formula, that fellow's formula, yes, it may work. But then, what is the price you're going to pay?
True.
Which you may not know at the end of the dietary formula that you have completed.
Correct.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So that was really enlightening.
Thank you very much for spending your quality time. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you enjoyed this session. See you later.